What if I told you that one of the healthiest things you've been doing every day after 60 could actually be causing some of the problems you're trying so hard to avoid? I'm talking about vegetables. Now, before you click away, hear me out, because this isn't one of those videos telling you vegetables are bad. They're not. But here's the shocking truth many people over 60 never hear. As your body ages, it doesn't process every vegetable the same way it did when you were 30 or 40. In fact, some vegetables that are considered super healthy can sometimes worsen certain health conditions, interfere with medications, increase digestive problems, or even make it harder for your body to absorb important nutrients. And the scary part? Most people think they're doing everything right. There was a woman named Margaret, age 72. Every morning, she started her day with a large green smoothie packed with spinach, kale, and other vegetables. She believed she was giving her body exactly what it needed. But after a routine visit to her doctor, she learned that one of her daily habits might actually be working against her health goals. And she's not alone. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 common vegetable mistakes adults over 60 make without realizing it, including one vegetable-related habit that doctors often warn certain seniors about. Stay with me, because the number one mistake surprises almost everyone. Don't worry. I'm also going to show you the simple way to enjoy vegetables safely, so you can keep getting all the benefits without the complications. Hi, I'm Dr. Juliet, and on this channel, we make health simple, practical, and easy to understand so you can live a longer, healthier, and more active life. If you're over 60, or you care about someone who is, this is information you'll want to know. Let's get started. A few years ago, most health advice was simple: eat more vegetables. And honestly, that's still some of the best health advice you'll ever hear. Turn on the television, open a health magazine, visit your doctor, or search online, and you'll hear the same message again and again. Eat more vegetables. Fill half your plate with vegetables. Add greens to your meals. Drink vegetable smoothies. Because we've heard that advice for so many years, most of us never stop to question it. We simply assume that if a little is good, more must be even better. But after the age of 60, things aren't always that simple. Let me ask you something. Have you ever known someone who seemed to be doing everything right, eating healthy foods, avoiding junk food, trying their best to take care of themselves, yet they still struggled with digestive problems, low energy, kidney issues, medication complications, or other health concerns? It can feel frustrating, sometimes even confusing. You start wondering, what am I doing wrong? The truth is, you may not be doing anything wrong at all. You may simply be missing a piece of information that nobody ever explained. You see, aging changes the way the body handles food. The body you have at 65 is not the same body you had at 35. Your digestive system slows down. Your kidneys may not filter waste as efficiently. Your body may absorb nutrients differently. Your medications can interact with certain foods in ways that didn't matter years ago. That means a food that's healthy for one person may not always be the best choice for another. That's why blanket advice can sometimes get people into trouble. Now, before we go any further, I want to reassure you of something. This video is not about being afraid of vegetables. It's not about avoiding vegetables. And it's certainly not about replacing vegetables with unhealthy foods. In fact, vegetables remain one of the most powerful tools for supporting health as we age. The goal is simply to understand the hidden rules that most people never learn. Because once you know those rules, you can continue enjoying vegetables while avoiding mistakes that may quietly work against your health goals. And trust me, mistake number 1 surprises almost everyone. In fact, many people watching this video are probably doing it right now without realizing it. Vegetable mistake number 5: eating huge amounts of raw vegetables every day. This is one that surprises many health-conscious people. Eating too many raw vegetables. Now, before anyone panics, let me be clear. Raw vegetables are not bad. Many raw vegetables contain valuable nutrients, fiber, and antioxidants that support good health. The problem begins when people assume that raw is always better. And that's simply not true. Let me explain. A woman named Susan became extremely committed to healthy eating after retirement. Every morning, she blended large handfuls of spinach into smoothies. Lunch was usually a massive salad loaded with raw vegetables. Dinner often included another serving of uncooked greens. Susan believed she was giving her body exactly what it needed. After all, that's what many health articles recommend: more vegetables, more greens. more raw foods. But after several months, she began noticing something strange. Her stomach often felt swollen. She experienced uncomfortable bloating. Sometimes she felt full long before finishing meals. Other days, she felt digestive discomfort she couldn't explain. She started wondering if something was wrong. What she didn't realize was that her digestive system was working much harder than she thought. Here's why. As we age, digestion naturally becomes less efficient. Food often moves through the digestive tract more slowly than it once did. The body may produce less digestive enzymes. The muscles involved in digestion may not be quite as strong as they were decades ago. Raw vegetables can be surprisingly difficult to break down, but cooking softens plant fibers. It makes certain nutrients easier for the body to access. It can also reduce the digestive workload. That's why some people actually tolerate cooked vegetables far better than raw ones. This doesn't mean you should avoid salads. It simply means balance matters. Many people feel better when they mix raw vegetables with cooked vegetables, instead of relying almost entirely on raw foods. And here's something else many people don't know. Certain nutrients actually become easier for the body to absorb after cooking. So the idea that raw is always superior isn't supported by reality. Sometimes a lightly cooked vegetable can provide more usable nutrition than a raw one. The next mistake involves a vegetable that millions of people consider one of the healthiest foods on earth. In fact, many people probably have it sitting in their refrigerator right now. Yet for certain people, eating large amounts of it every day can create a completely different problem. Vegetable mistake number 4. Drinking green smoothies without understanding what's inside them. This one catches many people completely off guard, because it involves something that has been promoted for years as the picture of healthy eating. At first glance, they seem like the perfect health food. A handful of spinach, some kale, maybe a few other greens, blend everything together. Drink it in a few minutes, easy, convenient, healthy, or so it seems. The issue isn't that green smoothies are bad. The issue is that many people unknowingly turn them into nutrient overloads. Think about it for a moment. If I handed you a large bowl containing 6 cups of spinach and asked you to eat it with a fork, you'd probably struggle to finish it. Most people would. But blend those same 6 cups into a drink, and suddenly it's gone in 5 minutes. That's where the problem can start. Blending makes it incredibly easy to consume much larger amounts of certain vegetables than you would normally eat. And for some people, that matters, especially when the same ingredients are used day after day after day. One vegetable that often shows up in these smoothies is spinach. Spinach is packed with nutrients. It contains vitamins, minerals, and powerful plant compounds. But it also contains naturally occurring substances called oxalates. Now, don't worry about remembering that word. What's important is understanding what they can do. For some individuals, consuming very large amounts over long periods may increase the risk of certain kidney stone problems. Does that mean spinach is dangerous? No, not at all. For most people, moderate amounts are perfectly fine. The problem is excess, and many people don't realize how much they're actually consuming. Another issue is variety. The body tends to do better when we eat a wide range of vegetables instead of relying heavily on just 1 or 2 favorites. Yet many people drink the exact same smoothie every single morning for months or even years. Imagine watering your garden with only one nutrient. Eventually, something would be missing. The same principle applies to the foods we eat. Different vegetables provide different benefits. The more variety you include, the more complete the nutritional picture becomes. And there's another hidden problem. Some people use smoothies to replace entire meals. The drink goes down quickly. It doesn't always create the same feeling of fullness as chewing whole foods. A few hours later, they're hungry again and reaching for snacks. Without realizing it, they're consuming more calories than they intended. What started as a healthy habit can sometimes work against their goals. Now, none of this means you need to throw away your blender. Far from it. A green smoothie can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle. The key is moderation, variety, and understanding what you're putting into it. A smaller amount of greens, different vegetables throughout the week, balanced ingredients. Those simple changes can make a big difference. But if you think that's surprising, wait until you hear the next mistake. Because it involves a group of vegetables that many people proudly eat almost every day for their heart health. Yet, for some individuals taking common medications, These vegetables can create a problem their doctor may have already warned them about. If you've ever been prescribed a blood thinner, you'll want to pay very close attention to this one. Vegetable mistake number 3. Assuming every healthy vegetable is safe with every medication. Now we're getting into a mistake that doesn't receive nearly enough attention. And honestly, it's one of the most important parts of this entire video. Because it isn't really about the vegetables themselves. It's about the combination of vegetables and medications. Certain leafy green vegetables contain high amounts of vitamin K, and vitamin K plays an important role in how blood clots. For people taking certain blood-thinning medications, suddenly increasing or decreasing vitamin K intake can sometimes affect how those medications work. This is where many people get confused. They hear this information and think, so should I stop eating greens? Absolutely not. That's not the lesson. The lesson is consistency. You see, doctors generally don't want patients avoiding healthy vegetables. What they want is predictability. If you regularly eat leafy greens, your healthcare provider can often work around that. The problem usually happens when someone goes from eating very little vitamin K to suddenly drinking giant green smoothies every day. Or when they drastically change their eating habits without discussing it with their doctor. That's when things can become complicated. And this isn't limited to blood thinners. Many medications can interact with foods in ways most people never think about. That's why it's always a good idea to tell your healthcare provider about major dietary changes, especially if you're taking prescription medications. Now, I know what some people are thinking. This is getting confusing. First, you're telling me vegetables are healthy. Then you're telling me some vegetables can cause problems. That's exactly why this conversation matters. Because health is rarely black and white. It's not about labeling foods as good or bad. It's about understanding context. A vegetable can be incredibly healthy and still require a little extra thought depending on your personal situation. And once you understand that, everything starts making much more sense. Now here's where things become even more surprising. The next mistake has nothing to do with medications. It has nothing to do with green smoothies. And it has nothing to do with eating too many vegetables. In fact, the people making this mistake often believe they're choosing the healthiest vegetables possible. But what they're actually doing is missing out on some of the nutrients their bodies need most. Vegetable mistake number 2. Replacing protein with vegetables. Now we're down to the 2 mistakes that surprise people the most. This one is incredibly common among people who are trying their hardest to eat healthy. They're eating plenty of vegetables. Their refrigerator is full of vegetables. Their plate is full of vegetables. But without realizing it, they've started pushing something else off the plate. Protein. Vegetables provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, and important plant compounds. But protein provides the building blocks your body needs to maintain muscle. And as the years go by, maintaining muscle becomes more important, not less. Here's something many people don't know. Beginning in midlife, the body naturally starts losing muscle mass over time. It's a gradual process. You may not notice it from one year to the next, but over many years it can affect strength, balance, mobility, and independence. That's why nutrition experts often emphasize not just eating enough vegetables, but also eating enough protein. The goal isn't choosing one or the other. The goal is having both. And here's where many healthy eaters accidentally make a mistake. They become so focused on adding vegetables that they forget to include adequate protein alongside them. A giant salad might look incredibly healthy, but if it contains almost no protein, it may not keep you satisfied for very long. It may not provide what your muscles need. And over time, that can become a problem. Now, this doesn't mean you need huge steaks at every meal. Protein can come from many sources: fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, beans, lentils, chicken, tofu. There are plenty of options. The important thing is balance. Vegetables and protein work best as teammates, not competitors. And when they work together, they can support energy, strength, mobility, and healthy aging far better than either one alone. Now, so far we've talked about raw vegetables, green smoothies, medication interactions, and the importance of not replacing protein with vegetables. But the biggest mistake of all isn't a specific vegetable. It's a way of thinking. In fact, millions of health-conscious people make this mistake every day because it sounds completely logical. I know because I hear it all the time. Vegetable mistake number 1. Believing that more vegetables is always better. Honestly, this may be the most important lesson in this entire video. Because it isn't about spinach, it isn't about kale, it isn't about salads, and it isn't about green smoothies. It's about a belief. A belief that sounds so reasonable, so logical, that most people never stop to question it. The belief is this: if vegetables are healthy, then eating as many as possible must be even healthier. At first, that idea seems impossible to argue with. After all, vegetables are good for us. They provide fiber, they provide vitamins, they provide minerals, they support heart health, they support digestion, they support overall wellness. So naturally, many people conclude that more is always better. But that's not how the body works. The body thrives on balance, not extremes. Think about water for a moment. Water is essential for life, yet drinking too little water can cause problems. Drinking excessive amounts can also create problems. The same principle applies to many healthy foods. Even healthy foods have to fit into a balanced diet. Your body doesn't need one healthy food. It needs many healthy foods working together. Vegetables are part of the team, a very important part, but there's still only one part. Imagine trying to build a car using only tires. Tires are important, you absolutely need them, but a car also needs an engine, seats, brakes, windows, hundreds of other components. Health works the same way. Your body needs protein to maintain muscle. Healthy fats support the brain and hormones. Minerals support bones. Fluids support circulation. Fiber supports digestion. No single food can do every job, not even vegetables. And that's where some people accidentally get into trouble. They become so focused on one healthy habit that they forget about the rest. The goal was never to eat the most vegetables. The goal was always to nourish the body completely. That's a very different mindset. Here's the good news. The solution is incredibly simple. You don't need to fear vegetables. You don't need to avoid vegetables. You don't need to throw away your salads. And you definitely don't need to stop eating your favorite greens. The goal is to understand them. Because once you understand a few simple rules, you can enjoy all the benefits without many of the mistakes we've talked about today. Rule number 1, focus on variety. Instead of eating the exact same vegetables every day, try rotating them throughout the week. Maybe spinach one day, broccoli another day, carrots, green beans, bell peppers, cauliflower, cabbage, or asparagus on other days. Different vegetables provide different nutrients. The more variety you have, the more balanced your nutrition becomes. Rule number 2, don't assume raw is always better. Many people are surprised to learn that some vegetables become easier to digest when lightly cooked. If large raw salads leave you feeling bloated or uncomfortable, try steaming, roasting, or lightly sautéing some of your vegetables instead. Listen to your body. Your body often gives you clues about what works best for you. Rule number 3, make room for protein. A healthy plate isn't just vegetables. Try pairing your vegetables with foods that support muscle strength and healthy aging. Eggs, fish, chicken, beans, Greek yogurt, lentils, or other protein-rich foods you enjoy. Think of vegetables and protein as partners working together. Rule number 4, if you take medications, especially blood thinners, or medications for chronic health conditions, talk with your healthcare provider before making major dietary changes. You don't need to avoid healthy foods. You simply want to make sure your diet and medications are working together, not against each other. And finally, rule number 5, remember that health isn't about extremes, it's about consistency. You don't need a giant bowl of greens the size of a bathtub. You don't need 3 green smoothies a day. You don't need a refrigerator filled with only vegetables. What your body needs is balance. A balanced plate, a balanced diet, a balanced approach to healthy living. And that's what leads to lasting health. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these vegetable mistakes surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. I read every comment, and your experience may help someone else who's watching. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with a friend or family member who is trying to eat healthier. And remember, healthy aging isn't about perfection. It's about understanding your body a little better today than you did yesterday. I'll see you in the next video.